What is going on, everybody? So we were out in Arizona this past week. We were doing a little bit of testing, had the opportunity to get the Mevo Plus out against a couple of tour players, a couple of really good amateur players, and also had it out against Trackman 4 with all the new pro package data outside. So let's talk about that today and what we found. Hey everybody, Scott Hogan coming at you. We are here. We are in the studio here. We are back in Chicago. It is cold. It is depressing, but actually it's not too bad today. But we are going to go over some things that we did while we were out in beautiful Arizona working on some things. So this is how you know the video is important. I've got my notes here today. All right. So one of the things we wanted to do, we were heading out to Arizona, one, to get out and play a little golf, and I've got to play a little bit coming up soon, so wanted to get out there and use the device and just see what I could do with it. But the other thing was try to set up some abilities to test the device with some really good players, because I do have some friends out there that are very good. And so one of the friends his name is Kurt. He is a +6 handicap-ish in that range, and he played in the U.S. Amateur last year at Oakmont. He was able to qualify for that. He is an extremely good player, former D1 player, tried to make it on the professional tours. Now he actually works full-time, but he can still get the golf ball around the golf course. So wanted to go out with him because he has access to a Trackman 4, and we wanted to basically test these units out and see what we were getting in a practical sense. We're also going to talk a little bit about what I was talking with him, because he is actually fairly new to the launch monitor world. So we were talking about things that he could do and how he could use the device to better work on his swing. So I'm going to have a separate video about that, but hopefully that'll help you out as you're looking at ways to use the device to get better. But let's talk about Mevo Plus versus Trackman, because I know that's going to be the big thing, especially using the device outdoors. So the first thing is, how did we set this up? We had the Trackman set up, and then we put the Mevo Plus in front of the Trackman about a foot, okay? And then we just went from there. Trackman can see around objects, so it does work when you're doing that. And then we did set the Mevo Plus off to the side a little bit, just to kind of make sure it wasn't directly in the way, because Trackman, again, you can actually offset things a little bit. You have a little bit more freedom with the Trackman with how you set things up, but Mevo Plus, we got it set up, and we had everything set up at one single target. As we were going, we were obviously on outdoor mode for both of these devices, and we were hitting flighted range balls. Now, this would be a case if I was just hitting with the Mevo Plus, I would actually put it on the range ball mode. We did not do that here because I did not want to have, however Trackman calculates and normalizes things versus how FlightScope does it, I wanted to take that out. What I really wanted to do is just have, we're going to just track the ball. We're going to track the ball and see what we get, and take away any, math problems that would make a little bit of an issue as we were going forward. So, what we did then is hit a bunch of shots, really, and I had Kurt hit a bunch of shots, because Kurt is very in tune with what's going on. Again, very high-level player. He knows what's going on with his game, and we're going to get some very consistent things going on with the numbers that we're getting. So, a couple of things that we saw. The big ones that I kind of wanted to look at was, all right, how are club path, club face looking as we're hitting shots? Are the shots doing what they're supposed to do, and are the numbers making sense? And then, just some other things with, how is that club data coming through? We've already tested the device and know that it works really well on distance and stuff, but how are all of these numbers working as far as the club data? So, club path and club face, okay? From Trackman to Mevo Plus, they were always within 0.3. Now, that is to be expected. I actually would not want the device to actually be the same, because they read different, right? They read differently. Trackman measures at full compression. Mevo Plus measures at first touch. That's the difference between FlightScope and Trackman. So I would expect there to be very slight differences, but 0.3 is not even a big deal anyway as you're going through. But always within 0.3. So that's awesome. And they were also never the same, which again, for those reasons, I wouldn't want them to be the same as we were going through. Low point, that's a big number as well that we were looking at. Always within 0.2. That's awesome. Angle of attack was always within negative 0.5 or so, 0.5. Every time we hit one was negative. We did hit a couple drivers. They were on the positive side. So they were working really good. Spin, within 100 RPMs every single time. And then the distance was always within 3 yards of carry. Now, here's the one thing you will get with Trackman. Once Kurt started hitting some drivers, we did start getting a little bit of separation from Trackman to Mevo Plus. Why would that happen? Well, Trackman is a full flight launch monitor. It watches it all the way to the end. I also noticed that the roll, we were getting more roll on Trackman. Now, we could adjust the settings on the Mevo Plus, but, it was pretty consistent. Like, hey, they're giving you a set number because the Mevo Plus is a limited flight launch monitor. So when you were hitting driver, where we were always within like 3 yards with irons and things like that, once we started getting out in, that 230 plus range, it started to separate a little bit. And again, I think that has something to do with the range balls, stuff like that. But you did see it start to separate a little bit because Mevo Plus would watch it and then it's cutting off and it's saying, all right, we're going to take it the rest of the way with the math formulas that we have. Trackman doesn't do that. It's watching it. It's telling you what it sees. So that's obviously a bonus. That's why like an X3 is a great option if you're looking for something like that. But again, for what you're paying and how much you're paying, that is actually pretty darn good if you ask me, as what's going on with your swing. So really, really good. As far as how the units operate, actually, because Mevo Plus isn't a full flight monitor, the numbers would come back much faster. That's to be expected. Again, not necessarily a good or a bad thing. Actually, probably I could say that, hey, Trackman's taking its time watching the flight before it gives you its numbers. But we saw everything from the shape of the shots. If we saw a ball that was drawing left, both units, excellent job portraying that and showing that on the apps that we were using. Now, I wish I had numbers to show you. One of the big issues that you will have, and when we get into Arizona golf, especially, is you're out in the sun, and it was actually fairly warm this week out there, highs in the upper 80s. And so what happens is your devices will actually overheat as you go. So keep this in mind as we're tracking outside. This is actually the biggest reason why you're starting to see more quads on tour is, well, there's two actually. Two, the first one is they don't buy them. They are given to them for free to use at all the events. At every tour event, you have about 80 quads on site by the company. Come grab it if you want it. The second thing, though, is, and this is actually a legit thing, they would love to use their radar units, but they use a device, and that device overheats, especially in the summertime when they're playing. So they would have that issue where now they can actually just look at the numbers on the device. So, they'd rather have some numbers than no numbers because their device is overheated. So keep that in mind as you're using your stuff outside, that you're going to want to figure out a way to get shade. I usually will position my bags. Luckily, my teaching facility is covered, so that does really help me. But if I wasn't in a covered area, I'm going to use my bag, kind of position it so I can protect it. I also would use an umbrella, things like that, just to keep the sun off of the device. It also will help you see the device as you're out in the sunlight too. So keep that in mind. As far as the device, really impressed, worked really well. We're going to go over more because this actually had some really good conversations with Kurt about how this all works, and I want to do that in a separate video and talk about some things with his numbers that I think could help you. But as far as just talking about the two devices and how everything works, your club data, your club path, your club face, your angle of attack, your low point, all of those types of things, awesome stuff. Really, really excited about how the Mevo Plus performed. And then we actually took it out and did some work with some LPGA professionals, some really, really good club pros. And we were all saying some really, really good things there as well. Whereas LPGA pros are saying, hey, I want to hit the ball this far with this club. This is how far it should go. They hit it. It's within 0.6. If they said, hey, I want to hit it 185, they'd hit it 185.6. It was pretty impressive, to be honest. So if you have questions about it, I'm going to be going over more things. We were actually testing out multicam. We were testing out some different skills, things that we can do. So I will have all that coming up in the future. We also have more videos with Mike Carbray coming up. He's going to be showing you some more things about using a launch monitor to get better. So don't miss out on that stuff. Click that subscribe button in the description down below. Leave your comments. Let me know anything that you're looking to get better at. I want to help you with it. So if you have any of that, please leave those messages down below. And as always, thanks for watching. We're going to see you in the next video. Peace.